Support for the Couples Council comes from Mercier Wellness and Consulting. Their purpose is to equip you with the right skills for a happy and healthy relationship. Services available in office or virtual. Schedule your consultation now. For more information, visit mercierwellness.com. Mercier Wellness and Consulting. Small steps, big changes.
This podcast is not a substitute for therapy. Please consult a licensed professional for your mental health needs.
Now on with the show.
Hello and welcome to the Couples Council. I am your host, Dr. Jameson Mercier, the Love Mender. And as usual, sitting beside me is my lovely wife, Herdyne Mercier, aka the Wife Mentor. As always.
I know.
And today we got another show for you. But not like we've been giving you. I know you're probably tired of all these awesome interviews that you've been hearing.
But you're really not.
Not really.
Because the numbers are going up.
Yeah, clearly you're enjoying the interviews, and we enjoy the fact that you are enjoying them.
And you're benefiting from our discussions and just the dialogue that we're having with other people.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. We've got some great feedback about specific episodes.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten people telling us, how do I get in touch with this person who you had on your show?
Yeah.
So thank you guys. Thank you for some of the feedback we've been getting. Thank you for continuing to share, subscribing. So we just figured today we would do things a little different and talk to you directly.
Yes.
We've been having some conversations just between the two of us, and we think we'd like to see how you respond to it. Some of the thoughts we've been having.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of an experience that I had, and typically when I have experiences, I'm like, why am I having this? And so I was like, wow, there's so much I can gain from this experience. So probably about 3 weeks ago, I woke up excited, ready to go to church, and my kids were excited. One of my daughters texts me. She's ready to go. We get dressed. We get in the car. I believe I'm taking the best route.
It wasn't. But okay.
I believe I'm taking the best route to church so that I can get there and do not miss out on praise and worship. Because y'all know I have a Whitney Houston voice in my head.
Yes. Whitney Houston, not Bobby Whitney, but Whitney Houston somewhere else.
But I do believe I have this amazing voice, and I wanted to go and worship and just for all the things that God has done for me. And long story short, I get on the highway. I am going about 60 miles an hour. The gas begins to it's not going. I'm not going anywhere, but I'm pressing down on the pedal. I don't know what's happening. But I knew I thought of safety. And I said, okay, I have the kids in the car with me.
Just so y'all know, I wasn't there.
No.
I was not there.
Yes. You were doing a mental health day, resting and quiet in the house by yourself.
I was doing a mental health weekend. Yeah, I needed some daddy time.
Yes, just by yourself. Just hubby time by yourself, alone time, which is great.
It's awesome.
Because I had the kids. And I had to pull over because I needed to look for safety. Something was going on with our minivan, and I didn't know what was happening. So I pulled over on the side of the road, and the first thing I remember asking the kids, are they okay? Everybody stated that they were okay. And you kind of think about the setting of a highway. People are driving really, really fast to the point I felt the van shaking, and later on, after calling Jay to come in, figure out what's going on, because I'm looking at the tank. I have a quarter tank of gas left. The car is not starting. I don't know if it's the brakes. I don't know if it's the gas. I don't know anything. I just know my car wasn't going from point A to point B like I thought. I was on the side of the road.
The highway.
On the highway. I should say. And Jay, typically, as always, comes to the rescue.
Yeah, so much for my mental health day. So much for my day off. You know, I asked her what's up with the van, and she just says it's not going nowhere, not starting. And I'm first thing her husband will say, "Is there gas in it?" And she said, "Yes."
Yes. I proudly took a picture.
And she sent me a picture, and it was low.
It was low.
It wasn't empty, but it was low.
I had a quarter tank left.
It might have been a slightly less than a quarter tank.
I had a quarter tank left.
So it was low.
But not low enough for me to be on the side of the road.
So we thought.
So we thought,
right? And so I said, well, I know she says she has gas, but I'm going to get some anyways, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
And, I bring a 5-gallon, and I actually had to call an Uber to get there.
Yes, because someone else had your car.
Yeah. I had no plans to leave the house, so I didn't care. But I had to get an Uber, get out there. So I get there, and first thing I do, flip the lid open, and I put about maybe 3 gallons of gas in the tank.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, start the car. And lo and behold, the car starts.
It starts. Once again, Dr. J comes to the rescue.
Yeah, I keep telling y'all the PhD comes in handy every now and then. And the car starts, and, the old me would have been like, what the hell is this? How you going to take the car without any gas?
Uh-huh.
And I had to say, well, gee, what happened here? How do we find ourselves in this situation? And what we realized is the car was running on reserve.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe we'd been busy that week. Maybe we'd kind of neglected or wasn't paying attention. But at some point, it slipped into pulling gas from the reserve. And for people who don't know, your car, old or new, has a reserve that it pulls from when the fuel tank gets low or even empty. Okay? And what the van did was it automatically started pulling from the reserves. We even looked this up. Our reserve is probably about maybe 3 gallons on average. Like, it's hard to tell definitively, but we may get about 3 gallons, and that would give us approximately 45, maybe 50 miles on a reserve tank.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't want to be going 40, 50 miles on a reserve tank. The idea is to get to your nearest gas station, which is generally down the street around the corner.
Mm-hmm. Most situations.
Not us. On this day, that wasn't us.
Nope.
I think we were trying to drive like 40 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to use it. Anyways, it didn't happen. And we sat down and thought, and we said, gee, doesn't this parallel marriages?
Yes.
And individuals in marriages? So,
like I said, my experience wasn't for anything. Like, we're bringing my experience and now saying, you know what? We can draw out a lesson from this. And one of the lessons that we want you to pull from today's episode is, I want you to ask yourself the question, is your relationship currently in the reserve and you think you're almost near empty?
No, well, you've passed empty if you're in a reserve.
Yeah, but remember my gauge. My gauge said that I had a quarter tank left. So there was an illusion that I had gas.
Right.
So are couples that are listening, do you have a relationship where there's an illusion that, yeah, we're in love? There's an illusion all things are okay.
Yeah,
how you doing?
Are you doing as well as you think you are?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a dangerous question. It's a good question because most times we tell ourselves we're doing good.
Mm-hmm.
You'll tell yourself, "Oh, we'll be just fine."
Yep.
And you tell yourself that for a month, 3 months, 6 months. The thing is, the reserve in your marriage can take you pretty far.
Yes.
It ain't nothing like the reserve in our car, in our van. It will take you pretty far. But eventually, you are going to run out of gas.
Yeah. And somebody's going to say enough is enough. And you're going to be like, what? What do you mean enough is enough?
Yeah, it may be someone saying enough is enough. It may be someone stepping out. It may be someone pulling away.
Yep.
Shutting down.
Not as affectionate. Cold. So I want you to really think about this. Is your marriage in the reserve? But the beauty about today's episode is that we're going to give you some tools to make sure that your marriage is not staying in the reserves, and you don't find yourself on the side of the road like it did me.
Yeah, we want people to stay out of the reserve.
Yeah,
but you got to know if you are in the reserve and what to do to get out.
Yeah. So what are some signs, babe, that a couple is in the reserve?
Well, listen. So with the car, things were not running as smooth.
I started
started hesitating.
Yep.
So conversations might be sharp. Yeah. We might be popping off and snapping about things that we don't normally snap off. If that's not the norm in your marriage, you may be running low or already
in the reserves.
You might be drawing on fuel that you do not have. When's the last time y'all went? I mean, we talk about date nights all the time. When's the last time y'all spent some time just the two of y'all? That's the maintenance we talk about.
Yep.
And I don't know if I'm jumping ahead of it, but the maintenance needs to be done so that you don't fall too low and into the reserve.
Nope. Because I would tell you, being on the side of the road with your 3 kids and cars are passing by you 75 miles an hour, it was bumpy. One of my girls, she started crying because she was afraid. My son was like, when is daddy coming? And another one was just chilling in the car, kind of, it's hot. But for me, as the mother in the van, I am actually saying, I'm pleading with God, please help me. Please help us. Protect us. I do not want to be one of those families that are on the news. And then it was nerve-wracking to now see Jameson come, and he's now on the side and putting gas into our car. But he was putting gas into our car in a very dangerous situation. And my point of view, like cars are going by really fast. And so I think when I look back at that moment, I don't want you to wait until you feel like your marriage is suffocating before you take action.
Yeah. Yeah. This is why we advocate the regular checkups, right? Because we didn't know that we was pulling on the reserves. We had no idea. And I think you had even said, well, you'll just fill up on your way back from church.
Yep, I did. I said I'll fill up on my way back from church because I do have the habit of looking at the gas gauge just to make sure I'm good. However, I did look. I did everything
that we normally do.
I did everything, but maybe I didn't pay attention to the signs.
Yeah.
Are you not paying attention to the signs in your relationship that things are not going so well? I think sometimes we get caught up in this denial. And then we begin to like, okay, I mean, maybe next week we'll be fine. We can just brush this week under the rug and we'll come all together. But are you doing the work to connect and making sure that it's just not, I'm sitting next to you, we're here, but nothing really is happening?
Yeah. Another question that came up at least for me, was, well, for us actually, can you trust the gauge?
You know what, honey? To tell you the truth, ever since that happened to me, I do not trust the gauge.
Well, like I was telling you before, you can't not trust the gauge.
I don't trust it now.
The gauge didn't do nothing wrong to you. I'm just telling you.
Sorry. The gauge didn't do anything.
The gauge didn't do nothing wrong. We actually were the ones who messed up. Right?
But the gauge lied to me.
Well, so it was misleading. It was misleading because, and it's funny, right? The gauge was doing what it was designed to do in every step of the way. When you tap into your reserve, the gauge will read that you have fuel in it. It's not telling you where the fuel is coming from. You think it's coming from your tank, but now you're pulling from your reserve. So the gauge every step of the way was doing what it was designed to do. It's just you didn't know that. Right? So can you trust the gauge? Now, I've had cars where the car told me it was full and that thing was sucking fumes. Now, this was 20 plus years ago. Okay? But nowadays, it isn't so much the case. But for your relationships, right? What are you using to measure your relationships? And can you still trust it? Right? A lot of people measure how well their marriages are doing based on how they look. We're talking about appearances. We're talking about your selfies and snaps on Instagram.
Yep.
Guys, you got to let that ish go.
Or you're matching clothes when you go to church. I mean, you're creating this picture perfect reality. The exterior is all good, put together. You're getting compliments. People are probably like, man, I wish I was them. However, your bedroom says a whole different story.
Ice cold.
The dinner table at home is a whole different story. The communication throughout the day. Are you communicating? Are you wondering if they're going to call? It's ice cold. Nobody's checking in on each other. Nobody's sending any text to say, hey, how you doing? I thought of you.
It's radio silent. What are you using to gauge your relationship? Right? You got to have the right metrics. You have to have a right gauge, because clearly using our eyes didn't work.
Nope.
In the situation with the van. And for a lot of us, a lot of people in marriages, because you've been in it for any length of time, to tell you the truth, whether it's a year, 5 years, 10 years, you are no longer qualified in many cases to gauge your own marriage.
Come on, somebody.
This is why you need someone outside of your marriage to tell you, yo, that something ain't right here. You've been doing it so long
that it becomes normal.
Right. Not that it's right. You're just used to doing it that way.
And so what we're saying is, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of being in a relationship where you're not happy, you're not connected, you don't have someone where you can go to and cry your eyeballs out, you don't feel safe around your spouse because you haven't really connected on an emotional level, you're in the reserves. And we want you to learn today in this episode that there is hope. You can get out of the reserve.
Totally. And I mean, there goes that word hope again. And hope is fine. I tell everybody to keep hope alive. But hope don't put nothing in your tank. Hope is not a plan. Say it with me. Hope is not a plan. And if you need to go back, I think that's episode 3 or 4 or 5 maybe. Check that one out. You can't just hope to stay out of the reserves. You need a plan, right? If you're low, you need a plan to recharge. If you're empty, You need a plan to refill. Okay? If you don't know where to go to recharge or refill, dude, girl, homie, sister,
brother,
find somebody who can point you in the right direction. All right?
And so we want to give you some action steps. And one of the very first things that we would recommend to help you get out of the reserves is, like Dr. J said, maybe booking an appointment, seeing a professional to do what we consider is a love check-in.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to check in on our love stories. We know something isn't right. We don't understand what it is, but we want to be able to check in on our love story so you all can gauge it and we can work through the process of helping you overcome that hump of getting out of the reserves. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we would want to recommend is possibly doing something exciting that you probably haven't done in a very long time. So we live in Florida, and something exciting may be, babe, I'm taking you out tonight. I'll pick you up at 6. I don't tell him where it is. So there's that, I wonder where we're going, anticipation. She thought of me. And we would go on a nice beach walk and like really check in with your spouse, say to them, I wanted us to come out here. It's the breeze, hearing the water, the sense of relaxation. This will provide us an atmosphere where we can talk. This is what I noticed. I noticed that we haven't really been checking on each other throughout the day. And one of the things that you can say, what can we do in this relationship to make it better?
Yeah. I mean, like when we went down to the Keys,
Mm-hmm.
Rented a car, drove down, top down, spent a weekend there. It doesn't take a lot. Whatever you guys typically do, whatever is exciting to you or your partner,
Mm-hmm.
right? For some of you, the beach is boring as hell.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Don't judge us.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what works for us.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is that works for you guys, put it on your calendar. Talk about it. Schedule it. And you'll see the difference that makes.
Yeah. And another simple thing, probably about 2 weeks ago, I think probably even during that same weekend that we had the gas issue, like we hadn't really connected that week because we were so busy. He was in the office. I was home with the kids. Like we were missing each other. Like by the time he got home, I was probably sleeping. Whatever life had brought us during that week, I do remember that Sunday we were like, we're going to the gym together.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, did we have a good time. We were laughing. Dr. J almost took me out. I really did think he loved me. Then I questioned when he gave me that bar that was too heavy for me.
There was nothing on the bar.
But my arms were hurting.
Yeah.
But we enjoyed, we worked out together. We reconnected, we laughed, and then we came back home and had an amazing time.
Yeah. Yes, we did. So it doesn't take much. It doesn't take a whole lot. You just have to be paying attention.
Yeah. And then the other thing is you're probably in the reserves because you're not paying attention. One of the things I like to teach my wives is, are you studying your husband? Are you studying his actions? Are you studying his moods? Are you studying his patterns? Because his action, his moods, and his pattern will be an indicator that something may be going on. He may not be able to verbalize it just yet, but you asking him, hey babe, I noticed you're grinding your teeth. Is everything okay? You typically grind your teeth when you're stressed. It opens the door for him to say, you know what, babe, I am stressed. And you'll say to your spouse, okay, let's process that. What does that look like? How can I help you? What are you stressed about in this season? What can I do to take some of that load off of you?
Yeah, I am the teeth grinder of the bunch. So Herdyne's very good at noticing that, especially that, because I just start getting jabs in the jaw.
Baby, why you got to tell them all that?
You brought it up. You brought it up.
I can't stand grinding of the teeth. So I'm trying to fix that problem
she's
real
quick
quick.
to say, what do you need? What do you need? You need a camping trip? You need something?
Where do we need to go?
What's
Because
happening?
I need to take you out of this environment to bring your stress levels down so that I can sleep in the middle of the. I think it may be selfish intentions, but it's all in love. It's a sign that I know my husband needs help, and here I am to provide that support.
So it's easy, guys, to get stuck in your situation and focus on what's not happening. It's easy to see what is lacking in your marriage and what is lacking in your lives, maybe. One third and final thing you guys can do is to get in the habit of expressing gratitude.
Yeah.
Now, it sounds super corny and cheesy, but you'd be amazed how expressing a little gratitude, how much that does for you, your spouse, your overall well-being, right? When you focus on what you do have, there's just this natural shift, this natural realigning of priorities, I guess we can say, that takes place. It shifts your whole perspective. And so not just for you, but for the marriage as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me especially, it provides. He sees me, because sometimes you can be in a relationship. I think Jay and I have been in this relationship for over 15 years. We've been married next month, going on 12 years, and so sometimes we can get so caught up in the hustle and bustle of life that we'll neglect each other in a sense, and it's not done intentionally. However, though, like today, I got a text from him that says, "Thanks, babe. I appreciate your hustle." And I was sitting at my desk and I was like, oh, I got all fuzzy inside, like, oh, I know he loves me. But today I felt like he saw me.
Yeah.
He saw me today, and he sent that gratitude. And one of the things I like to do as a wife after very intense, engaged session is whisper in his ears, "Thank you." Because at the end of the day, he's the only man that can provide that for me.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, now we're speaking in coded language. We're talking about sex, y'all.
Just in case kids are in the car.
Yeah, the kids, let the kids know how they got there.
And so I whisper in his ears and I'm like, "Thank you."
And I say, "You're welcome."
Yep. Great job, boo. So we find ways to show gratitude, and that's what you want to do. Think of a way that you can show gratitude to your spouse. And look, I said nothing about money in those two gratitudes.
Yeah.
Nothing about money.
Yeah.
And
it's
so,
not, guys, like, I'm glad you brought up the whole money thing, babe, because believe it or not, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. Just like refilling the tank, literally, for the van, it didn't cost an arm and a leg. You do the math. The gas is what, $2.20, $2.30 a gallon, whatever it is. Even if it was $5 a gallon, it didn't take a whole lot to fill the tank. Similarly, it does not take a whole lot to refill your tank, to get your marriage back on track, to get your marriage back on course, right? I know we think it's going to be, oh my God, what is this? What is that? It's going to be terrible. You know, when your car breaks down or your car stops with you, you're like, oh, damn, how much is this going to cost? What just broke down? What? Yada, yada, yada. And you realize, wait a minute, you mean it was just 5-10 gallons of gas and just being more vigilant, and I could have avoided all that? Yeah. Just like when couples finally show up for their consultation or counseling, they're like, you mean to tell me we spent the last 8 years miserable when all we had to do was talk to y'all?
Yep. Check in.
And we say, yeah. But you needed to be having the right conversation. You needed to be having a conversation with the right person, the right people.
And these are not the conversations that you have sometimes with your friends who are not professional in this area, and they're trying to give you advice based on their experience and what their mama said. No, you need to be able to go to professionals who can help you process not just what you're feeling, but it may be some trauma that you're not even recognizing, that you're trying to avoid, but you're running into this relationship or having this problem because it is the root of that trauma.
Yeah.
And so we just got to pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, just like some of your friends, they might know how to change a tire, but don't let your friends start working on your engine and transmission.
Come on now.
Stay away from those people who get a little too happy. Okay. Similarly, again, some of your friends ain't counselors, and we need to let them be friends. They don't need a new profession. Trust me.
You on the road tonight?
Yeah, no, I think, you know what? I think I'm going to leave it at that.
Yes.
I think I'm going to just leave it alone.
So, the whole objective of today's podcast is to remember you don't want a relationship where you're functioning or operating in the reserves.
That's not a good place to be.
It's not a good place to be, because at the end of the day, it is going to may have you find yourself ending up in divorce court or separated,
it's
or
stressful.
at each other's throat, just like the van had me on the side of the road.
Yeah, it's not a happy place, and listen, we can tell you that because we've been there.
Yep.
Okay, and we are much more vigilant. We are much more cautious not to get there. But that is still no guarantee.
Yep.
Right? Let us get too busy, get too stressed. Let one of the kids get sick. Who knows? But that's life, right?
Yep.
So at least we know how to get back on track.
Yep. The key is that we know the signs, and we know to say, hey, babe,
Something's off.
something's off. We got to check in. What's going on?
Yeah.
And so we want to give you this information to say, okay, what is your action step? Action step. What is your action step now in going to find out what you and your spouse are going to do to make sure you're not in the reserve? We want to hear back from you.
Yeah, guys, that's our show for the day.
We do want to hear back from you. But before we go, I got to say a shout out to my boo. I'm showing him some gratitude. We've been getting some feedback. And today we got a feedback in regards to your work and your recent article with Authority magazine. And one of the reviews was like, great review. I really hope men follow his movement because it is very much needed.
Oh, they're talking about Manfident.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Y'all gonna have to check that out. We're not gonna tell you too much about that. You're gonna have to check it out. Go to our social media and you can find the links to that.
Yeah.
You also had some stuff drop within the last week.
Yes, our store.
The store, but I was talking about your profile with the Voyage.
You see, I forgot. Look at you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also had an article interview done by Voyage Miami, talking about why I started the Wifidence movement and a personal side of me and my mission. So if you go to my social media, especially Instagram, you'll be able to find the link in my tree. So go ahead, read it out. We do want to hear from you. Please do not hesitate to get in our inbox or send us an email. We really want to support you in a positive way. And hubby got another one that says, you must be so proud. That was a great interview. Thanks for sharing. We need more men like Dr. Mercier in the Black/male community.
Oh, wow. I didn't know about that one.
You're rocking it.
Pretty sweet. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So stay in contact with us. We have a lot more coming out. And I did,
You mentioned the store.
Yes.
So you might as well, I mean.
Drum roll. roll.
Yeah, you mentioned the store. You might as well tell them.
Drum roll. We're super excited to say that our store has officially opened. And when I say our store, where you can find Wifidence, Manfident,
The
Dad.
merch is out there.
Yeah, Dadfident, Mercier Wellness and Consulting. If you love my Wifident shirt, or if you love the Manfident shirt, you can all go to our store at the Etsy store.
It's an Etsy store. Yep,
And
the
just,
links.
and tell them how to get to the store, baby.
Yep. So, guys, go to Dr. Jameson Mercier on Instagram. Go to the Wife Mentor on Instagram. It's there, right? And you click the link in the bio, and it's there. We're putting the link up in mercierwellness.com. And that is always where you can go and find everything Mercier, right? But it's there. It's there, and we're adding new products every day.
Yes. Our store director is doing an amazing job.
Yep. Actually, I promoted her to director of merchandise.
Oh.
Yes.
Fancy.
Yes. We're having fun with it, guys. And so we just want to share that with you.
And I hope our audience get that idea that we enjoy what we do. We love what we do. It's our calling on our life. And we really genuinely want to see other marriages, other relationships thrive.
Yeah.
You don't have to be in a relationship where you feel stifled on, suffocated. It's not really good.
No. So, again, we're on Dr. Jameson. What? I'm getting a finger.
Yes, one more finger. I have one more thing to say. Typically, we do not know how to ask for help. But today, the Wife Mentor is asking for your help. In order for people to find out about us, we need you to go to iTunes after you listen to this episode and leave a comment and review and rate. We will be America's best kept secret if you don't help us. And so we're asking for help. We don't want our podcast to be in the reserve.
Yeah, don't be selfish.
Yeah, I mean, can you take 2 seconds, please, out of your day, go to iTunes, rate us, leave a comment. I will be reading your comments next week. So please go to iTunes, leave a comment. Don't forget to rate us and let us know how we're doing. But we need to get out of this cloud of being America's best kept secret.
Well, I don't have to call it a cloud.
What would you call it?
We're like, it's a nice place to be. It's comfortable, just nobody knows about it.
Yeah. You see
But,
what we do with team.
Yeah. So, guys, thank you for listening. We appreciate it. As always, numbers continue to increase. The shares continue to increase, and we're taking over the map.
Yep.
Right, but we do need your help. Connect with us on our social media at Dr. Jameson Mercier and The Wife Mentor, and again on mercierwellness.com. All right. This has been the Love Mender and The Wife Mentor, and we look forward to having you on the next episode of the Couples Council.
Hey everybody! Thank you for listening to our mom and dad.
If you like them as much as we do, then click subscribe and leave a comment.
But now they have to go because it's family time.
So go practice what you heard, and we'll catch you on the next episode.